this is the side of the toilet. You can see, and this is where the water enters into the house, right, or enters into the bathroom right here. It goes to the toilet through this hose, this braided hose. It's the hose that I was talking about in the earlier video, up to the toilet tank. So this is where you flush, this is when the water comes in. The tools that we need for doing this, on the box again, like I said, it says that you don't need tools. Not really true. You definitely need a screwdriver to mount the sprayer, like put the sprayer housing together, or the holster together. So you need a screwdriver. It's a Phillips head. I don't know if you can see that well. And then you'll also need a crescent wrench, which is this here. It has a little thumb screw, makes it bigger, smaller. If you have a wrench that's the right size for the fixture, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, you could just use that, or you could use just a pair of standard pliers. All right, and these ones kind of open, get a little bit bigger if you need them to be. You should have these around the house. If you don't, you probably want to invest in some small tools like that. It's just helpful when you have situations that need fixing, or you want to install a diaper sprayer. So here we are, side of the toilet. First things first, most important thing, otherwise this is going to be a big mess, is to make sure your water's off. So how you do that is you go down here to this knob, and it is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, at least in my house. I don't know if it's the same everywhere or if it's the same internationally, but either way, you turn it left, and it opens up. You can see there's some water dripping there. I already loosened the fixture a little bit. You turn it right, and it shuts it down. So see, there's nothing dripping out. You can see, just as I showed you there, that even the tiniest turn, a lot of water is going to come out. So you need to make sure that this water is off. Otherwise, this project will be a nightmare. If you need to make sure that the water's off, just go ahead and flush the toilet. If you flush the toilet and it fills back up, the water's still on. If you flush the toilet and it doesn't fill up, the water's obviously off at that point. You could, for safety's sake, if you really wanted to, shut your water off outside of your house. Many houses just have like a little spigot head that you can turn it off. Mine does. Some it's a lot more complicated and really not worth the hassle. You really shouldn't need to do it for this project. So water is off. The first thing the directions tell us to do is to go ahead and mount our main valve onto the bottom of the toilet. So in order to do that, and this is our valve, different sprayers will be different. This one in particular, this is what it looks like. So the way we start that is we gotta unscrew our hose from the bottom of the toilet. Mine's already pretty much unscrewed because I put the whole thing together and didn't realize I wasn't taping. So, unscrewed, you can see that this plastic piece here, this nut, is the same exact looking thing as the one that's on top of our valve. So, our valve is going to go up to the toilet. It's a plastic threaded housing there, and then the metal part here is going to go onto our plastic. When we put this on, one key thing just to make sure that we're doing is we don't want to cross thread this nut onto these threads. What I mean by cross thread is basically get it so it's not level, so that as we're spinning it's cutting new grooves into this plastic. If we did that, we're going to ruin this and have to replace it, which, you know, we don't want to do that. We're trying to save a little bit of money here, cloth diapering, so yeah, just be careful when you thread it on. Make sure it's good and level. It'll take some fiddling, and then you'll get it where it just goes on nice and easy. See, just like this, good and smooth, you know it's not cross-threaded. And then we want to go ahead and tighten that down. Good and tight. You can over tighten these to the point where they break, but it takes some work. So don't stress too much about that. One thing I'll point out here too, is you can see my water line is not really hooked well into the wall. So just be careful here. Don't be pulling on this. Don't be going all He-Man on it. Because you don't want to break that. That would really be a mess. You'd have to shut your water off outside, call a plumber, those kind of things. Don't want to do that. So we're hooked up here. We're going to go ahead, hold this in line, find your little bottom adapter down here, your bottom screw on, and again, make sure that you are threaded on there properly. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get down low next to the toilet. Hopefully it won't be all in your camera view, and make sure this is on level. It should go on relatively smoothly. You see here it's a little bit tighter, but you can tell, you'll know if you're cross-threading it. It won't feel right. You might even hear it kind of grinding or getting on there. So we're just going to tighten this down good and tight. So when you're doing this, what you're screwing this onto, there we go. I feel like that's good. What you're screwing this onto is the, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the part of the toilet inside the toilet that like rises up when the water fills. It's what tells the toilet it's full, or tells the toilet that it needs more water. I happen to have replaced this in the past, and I put a cheap one in there. So it's plastic, kind of wiggles a little bit as is. So you just need to be mindful as you're putting this on that you might loosen up the insides of your toilet. It's not a big deal. You can reach your hand inside the back tank and just kind of tighten it back down, and it's fine. So you just know that that's a possibility as you do this. This toilet probably actually needs that insides replaced at some point, so we'll be interested to see how this turns on. So we're all attached here. Next up is our hose, the actual sprayer hose. The instructions say to put it on now. I probably, in retrospect, might put it on beforehand, just so you're not having to work on this nut while this is already tight and loosen everything back up. You can just do it beforehand and get it out of the way. So here is our hose head. It's just a standard metal screw, so this is kind of nice. This is your kind of pressure regulator. It's how it's all kind of held together. And then there's a washer inside here. Really important. If you lose this washer by accident somehow, don't just put it on without the washer. It's going to leak. You can get one at Home Depot. You can probably get them at Walmart. Just bring this hose with you and find one that fits, matches pretty much perfectly up over this little metal piece. It's what seals the deal, keeps water from not spraying up. So this is where we're going to actually use a tool, I think. Again, like I said, it says no tools are required. I just don't like the idea of threading a metal nut onto a metal fixture without tightening it down with a wrench. So it goes on pretty snug by hand. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up just so it's out of the way. Have my crescent wrench, get it to the right size. It's a little bit bigger here. Ooh, wrong way. It's on there. I'm going to hold the fixture, okay? So I'm not bending the fixture, I'm just turning the screw, okay? Turning a little bit. See, that's a big turn that I could not do with my hand, okay? That's why I think you do want to use a tool here. And that's about good. It's pretty snug. But that's almost two full turns that it says that it takes. You know, it says you don't need tools, but you're asking for a leak, in my opinion, if you don't go ahead and do that. So, turn that back down. I think down is off. We'll find out in a minute here, because we're almost done. Hose is on here. Here is our other end. This is the end that goes to the sprayer. Again, you can see they put these little plastic covers in here so you don't lose, this one might not come out. There's an O-ring in there, so you don't lose your O-rings. It was the same on this. They put one of those little plastic covers in there. I really like that. It's kind of neat. I feel they put thought into their product. Here's the sprayer. The sprayer has a little threaded base. You got to go ahead and take that off. As I was looking at this, this is another thing that I don't necessarily like about the sprayer, is these threads here are plastic. Not my favorite material for plumbing in general. I really do feel like you could go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware, whatever your hardware place is, and probably build this for less money than you pay for it, and maybe even better quality. I'm not sure about that. I might do that in another video. I think that'd be kind of fun. So you can see here, it's just hand tightening it on. Make sure it's good and snug. Again, it's plastic, so you don't want to go He-Man on it and break anything. There's a little bit of a gap here. I don't know exactly why that is, if that's intended or not. I'm gonna risk this and go ahead and try to maybe give it a little half turn. There is a spot here for a wrench, two little flat spots. Let's see what that, if that accomplishes anything or just breaks it. Just turned a tiny bit, not much, so I think it was pretty much on there. So there you go. Sprayer's attached, fixture's attached, hose is on, water is still off. I went ahead and pre-put this together. This is that little holster. It's going to go up on the top of the toilet. You can't see it in this view. My lens is it's a fix, so I can't zoom out for you. It was just a single screw. It fits in here, and then there's like a little bolt that comes with it that fits in a little seat. So that's about it. We're going to go ahead here and turn this water on in a second. See what happens. Hopefully we have everything sealed up and no leaks, and yeah, we'll find out. So here we go. Remember, where left is loose in my house. Hopefully the sound of the toilet turning on isn't going to drown out the video too. But water's coming on. You can hear the toilet water. It's all the way open. I don't turn it all the way open most of the time. Let's find out. Oh, I almost pressed that button while I was looking at it. Again, this sprayer, it says again in the directions, with a big, I don't know if you can see it here, but a big warning. It says, warning, always turn this off after each use. You don't want these sprayers left on with like that pressure in this line the whole time, because it'll break it, and it'll be a mess. So turn the water on. I can feel it. This got a little bit more rigid. I'll go ahead and test it out. I'll show you a test afterwards. Wow. Just, there's a ton of pressure. So my guess is you might not want to turn it all the way on. Yeah, that a quarter turn is enough. You might blow a hole through the diaper if you turn it all the way on. So we're going to go ahead and stop here, and then I'll show you it running and what it looks like.